got a couple frames here that I didn't get finished, and I thought I'd gotten them done, and I didn't. And so now I'm going to go over and redo them again. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. First of all, we are down by the road. I'm setting up my new apiary down by the road. So get to watch me break matches. So I apologize right off the bat for the traffic noises. This is my fourth and hopefully, there we go, final apiary. I got some packages coming, and I'll show you those when they get here, but in a couple more weeks, so I'm trying to get them all set up. Now what I'm doing here is, these are the frames that are going in the hive, and I'll explain those to you in a minute, but what I'm trying to do is I use these frames over and over and over between hives, and bees, like all animals, can carry diseases. And so by charring the wood like this before you put them into the new hive or between the hives, you are helping to kill off any diseases and all that might be on the wood. And you just take a torch. They're pretty easy to work with, and you can kind of see, let's see if I can show you. This one's, I'm not right-handed, so hopefully I won't drop this and light us on fire, but you can kind of see this up here is burnt, and this down here isn't, so we're just kind of almost like painting it, except with the torch itself, and that's more or less just to kill off anything that might be on there, any diseases. And so you can see that side is done because it's all dark. Flip this side over, that's really light. And then don't go in the hive until it gets all charred up. And again, it's just to kind of protect any diseases or parasites that might be on here are killed off. Yes, I do respect all life, but I also am responsible for my bees, so I have to give them the best possible start that I can, and the best way to do that is to make them kill off any diseases before I put them in. All life has the ability to carry disease, so anytime you bring an animal or another being, even plants, into your life, you have a potential of bringing a disease into your life. Now, quick, before you all think that's I'm never bringing any life into my life then. This one here, I'm just going to see if I can burn off a little bit more of this stuff here. I'm never going to bring anything into my life. Well, actually, you live longer if you do. People are happier if they have pets and animals and things like that. So, and the happier you are, the healthier you are. People who have dogs tend not to have heart attacks, and if they do have a heart attack, they tend to recover from them a lot faster. I mean, that's a proven fact. So, it's not saying, oh, I just won't bring any life into my life. It's just as damaging as not bringing any in. Now you can see this one here didn't get cleaned off as well, and so sometimes when you're trying to burn them, they light, you'll see a little bit of flames or stuff. That's just the old wax burning off. That's from another bee, or another set of bees. And I like to get as much of it off, but of course I'm not going to light the wood on fire. So, I think that's going to be about it. We're just cleaning up in here. Like I said, these are the frames, and I'll show you those in a minute. I'll show you, oh no, here's one spot that hasn't been done. I'm usually better at this. I missed parts of three of them. Sometimes I'll miss the part of one of them, but I've never really come, so I must be in a little bit more of a hurry than what I wanted to be here, which is nature's way of telling me, slow down, do it right. Make sure those bees are nice and safe when they come. So, anyway, I'm going to take you over now. Got those all done. And I'm going to take you over and show you. You're actually sitting on them. I'm going to have two hives here. This hive here is in no way complete. You can see it does not have a baseboard. You can see this is the base right here. It doesn't have one of those. I have it on order. It also, its frames are empty. And some people have no problem with that. It's not that a lot of people will do empty frames with their bees. I'm not one of them. I tend to like to have foundations. So all of these are empty. In fact, I'm even missing 2 frames that are, I just haven't gotten those out yet. So this one's still got a ways to go. But I'm going to show you over here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so these are 10 frame hives. And you kind of put them in so that they're nicely spaced out. And this space in between, there we go, that's much better. The space in between each of these frames is the size that bees like to have. It's often called bee space. If you get a 10 frame Langstrom hive, it's pretty much set up for that. This one can move just a little further over. So as long as you keep them evenly spaced on like that, they're very good. Now I'm going to take you over here to this one. This one here is a hive that's all ready to have the package put in. And we're going to start first. I have an owl sitting up here. We have a lot of kingbirds, and the kingbirds love to eat bees. And I love the kingbirds, so I certainly don't want to go after my kingbirds. So I put an owl there, and the owl kind of keeps the kingbirds from coming in. This is what is called the cover, which means it covers it, so that's pretty cool. This here is just an empty super, this here, and then super is just simply, you know, just a square thing like that. Then we have the inner cover, and this one here is set up for, this is kind of a homemade jobby, but it's set up for feeding the bees right when they get here. And I'll show you, this is what a normal inner cover looks like. It has this more oblong thing. But this one's cut out here, and then I put a feeder right on top of that. And a feeder is, for me, is nothing more than a jug with a lid on it, and then you drill just teeny tiny holes, smallest drill bit you have, or even take a needle and heat it up over the stove and stick it up through the, you know, lid. And when you flip it over, and then you fill it with sugar water, 1 to 1, so 1 pint water to 1 pint sugar. And anyways, and then when you flip it over, the bees will crawl up from inside the hive, and they can eat it. And it's always best to do from up, when you, especially here in Wisconsin, to feed up. I also have, this is a feeder, a jar will sit down in there, and that's to feed down, and that's fine on hot summer days, but especially in the cold, it's best to feed up because, of course, heat rises, so the bees can come up here and they'll still be warm. Now this here is, kind of, like I said, a homemade jobby. I'll plug this before the bees get in, but I like to have an upper entrance as well as a lower one. Okay, now I'm going to show you. These 2 are supers. They're pretty much the same. And these have been burnt and everything. Now this is a foundation, and this is a wax with crimped wire foundation. And if you look, you can see they have individual, they kind of look like bees. Bees, how they set up their hive. And that's because that's how we want them to make it. If we give them this, they'll just what are called pull out or fill out these to put in either honey or eggs or pollen or whatever they're going to collect. And this pattern here gives us the most honey or whatever for the space that we provide. So that's why we put this in. Now some people will use just plain wax. They won't use the crimped wire. I'm actually going to try this year. Some people will not even put any foundation in, and they'll let the bees make their own nest, which works. Bees build down. Sometimes, though, then they'll fill up areas you don't want them to fill up. This way, you know, I mean, I'm controlling where these bees are going to build. And then some people will they'll take just a plain wax foundation and they'll cut it into thirds, and they'll just hang a strip of wax here, and then you get kind of the best of both worlds, because they'll start making it in the right size, and then they'll usually continue that down. And then you're not spending as much money on it, because see, you're buying 1 sheet for every 3 instead of the 3 sheets, and these things aren't cheap. Beeswax is not cheap. So A lot of people do that. I have a tendency of buying the whole thing, and that's just the way I like to do it. Now I'm going to turn you off and bring you back because I got to take this down. I'm going to take these two supers off and show you what we have here. Next thing down, after the supers are removed, this is called the queen excluder. Whoops, we'll just throw that on the ground. No big deal. This is the queen excluder. I'll put it up against the thing. Now, I always start off with my queen excluder on, and that way the queen cannot escape from the hive. And I do that for the first 7 to 10 days, and that's basically because very, very, very seldom does it happen, but every now and then you'll have a queen that says, whoosh, and she just decides to leave. And when you just paid $50-$60 for a hive, for a package of bees, you really don't want to come out 4 or 5 days after you put it in here and find it's gone because the queen decided she wanted to leave. So this keeps her from leaving. The workers can get out, but the queen cannot. They have to bond with her, or they have to find another queen. Usually they choose to bond with the queen. In fact, I can't even imagine why they wouldn't. But so that's what we use. That's why we like this thing. It's just to keep the queen in, and then about 7 to 10 days after she's here, you open up and see, and if they have started to fill out, pull out, she's laying eggs in the frames and everything like that. If you see that, they've obviously bonded, and you take this out. Now I have, my bottom board is set up with a screen. It's tried to help prevent mites as much as possible, and the mites will fall down and fall through this, and if you have a solid board, they'll stay in. Now they can crawl back, but usually you can keep them from crawling back. Now if you really want, you can also put like a pan underneath here with just a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil, and then when the mites fall through, they'll fall into that pan with oil and die. That's just, it's one way to help prevent mites. A lot of times if you get bad mites, you're going to need to do something else, like use some, I don't know, stick some thyme or something in there to kind of smoke out the mites. But, hey Kiki, you don't need to go over there. So that's how I have one of these. It also helps, especially here. This is on the south side, which is of the garage, the soon-to-be shop. This is on the south side of that, and it's really a good thing for here in Wisconsin because we tend to be a little more cold, but just in case it gets a little hot, we have some ventilation. Ventilation is one of the most important things you can have in one of these Langstrom hives. Oops, hello. So I'm building this back up, and when you have bees in here, you build it up carefully and slowly because you don't want to be smashing a bee. If you kill a bee just before it dies, it sends out this pheromone, and all the other bees smell it, and they come running, and a lot of times they'll come running all, armor bit, and they're ready to defend the hive, and they'll sting you. So you want to just be careful while you're doing this, but of course we don't have bees. We got another little bit longer. I like to have them right about the time my apple trees and my cherry trees and everything go to blossom, and that's not going to be for about another week. But anyway, that's how we're going to set this up. I'll show you when I get my bees. I'll show you installing a packet.